In the previous lesson, we discussed why AI ethics matters for business leaders. Now we'll go into the 3 foundational principles that guide ethical AI implementation: fairness, accountability, and trust. Rather than being abstract philosophical concepts, these are practical frameworks for making decisions about AI systems that create sustainable value while respecting stakeholder interests.
Fairness in AI means that systems treat people equitably without unjust discrimination or bias. This sounds straightforward, but fairness is a bit more complex than it initially appears. There are actually multiple definitions of fairness, and they sometimes conflict with each other. Consider a lending AI that evaluates loan applications. What does fair mean in that context? One definition: the AI should approve loans at equal rates across demographic groups. If 30% of Group A's applications are approved, 30% of Group B's should be too. Another definition: the AI should be equally accurate at predicting default risk across groups. If it correctly predicts default 85% of the time for Group A, it should be equally accurate for Group B. Yet another: the AI should use only factors directly relevant to creditworthiness, regardless of correlation with demographic characteristics. These definitions can conflict. An AI that achieves equal approval rates might have different accuracy across groups. One that achieves equal accuracy might have different approval rates. Your job as a leader is not resolving these philosophical tensions definitively. It's understanding them well enough to make informed choices about which conception of fairness matters most in your specific context. When evaluating AI systems for fairness, you might ask questions like, what factors does this system use to make decisions? Are those factors legitimately related to the decision, or are they proxies for characteristics that shouldn't matter? Does this system perform differently for different demographic groups? If so, why? And is that difference justified? Could this system perpetuate historical discrimination by learning from biased data? Are there groups for whom this system performs poorly? And what are the consequences for those groups? These practical questions help you identify fairness issues before they create problems. Some examples of fairness in practice: consider hiring AI that screens resumes. If historical discriminated against certain groups, AI trained on past hiring decisions will learn to discriminate too, unless you actively work to prevent this. Or consider customer service AI that routes inquiries. If it learns from past data where certain customers received poor service, it might route similar customers to lower quality service channels, perpetuating the inequity. Or pricing AI that sets insurance rates. If it uses factors correlated with protected characteristics as proxies, it might discriminate even without explicitly considering those characteristics. Fairness requires actively looking for these patterns and addressing them, not assuming that because AI is objective, it's automatically fair. Fairness has to be built into AI systems. It doesn't happen accidentally. It requires intentional design and testing. Use diverse representative data for training. If your training data doesn't reflect the full population the system will serve, it will perform poorly for underrepresented groups. Test for disparate impact across demographic groups. Measure whether the system performs differently for different populations, and investigate why if it does. Include diverse perspectives in AI design and review. People from different backgrounds notice different fairness issues. Homogeneous teams miss blind spots. Build in ongoing monitoring. Fairness isn't just a launch criterion. It requires continuous monitoring as systems operate at scale and populations change. Create mechanisms for contesting decisions. When AI makes decisions affecting people significantly, they should have ways to challenge those decisions and have them reviewed by humans. AI systems don't make decisions per se. People design them, deploy them, and use them. Those people must be accountable for the outcomes. Accountability means having clear ownership of AI systems, processes for oversight and review, and mechanisms for addressing problems when they occur. Without accountability, problematic AI systems persist uncorrected. Nobody feels responsible for fixing issues because responsibility is diffused across multiple parties. Accountability creates incentives for responsible design and deployment. When people know they're accountable for outcomes, they're more careful about potential problems. Accountability enables learning. When problems occur, clear accountability means you know who needs to investigate, learn from what happened, and adjust practices. Effective accountability requires several elements. Clear ownership. Every AI system should have designated owners responsible for its design, deployment, and ongoing operation, not diffused team responsibility, specific people who are accountable. Decisions about AI system design, training data, testing procedures, and deployment should be documented. This creates records for review and learning. Significant AI systems should undergo ethical review before deployment. This doesn't mean endless bureaucracy. It means thoughtful evaluation by people who understand both the technology and the ethical implications. AI systems should be monitored continuously for performance, fairness, and unintended consequences. Periodic audits verify that systems operate as intended. People affected by AI decisions need ways to provide feedback, report problems, and contest decisions they believe are wrong. When problems are identified, there should be clear processes for investigating, addressing, and learning from them. Consider a retail company using AI for pricing. Accountability means someone owns the pricing AI system, responsible for how it works and what outcomes it produces. The system's logic and training data are documented, so decisions can be explained and reviewed. Before launch, the pricing AI underwent review to ensure it doesn't discriminate or violate pricing regulations. The system is monitored continuously for unusual patterns or outcomes that might indicate problems. Customers can contest prices they believe are unfair, triggering human review. When issues are discovered, there's a clear process for investigating root causes and implementing fixes. This accountability structure doesn't prevent all problems, but it ensures problems are identified and addressed rather than ignored. It's the due diligence concept we always hit. So we want to talk about building accountability structures, how to create accountability for AI systems. Designate AI system owners. For each significant AI application, assign clear ownership. This person or team is accountable for the system's performance and impacts. And establish governance bodies. Create review boards or committees that evaluate significant AI implementations for ethical issues before deployment. And implement monitoring dashboards. Build systems that track AI performance metrics, including fairness indicators, and make this visible to stakeholders. Create escalation paths when problems are identified. Monitoring, user feedback, or audits. There should be clear escalation processes ensuring appropriate people address them. And document decisions. Maintain records of decisions about AI systems. What was considered, what was chosen, and why. This enables accountability and learning. And regular audits. Conduct periodic reviews of AI systems to verify they're operating as intended and ethically. Sustainable AI is what you want to be implemented in your organization. Trust is the outcome when you implement AI fairly and accountably, but it's also a principle that guides how you approach AI implementation. Without trust, stakeholders resist AI adoption, customers avoid AI-powered services, and employees work around AI tools rather than engaging with them. Partners hesitate to share data or collaborate. With trust, AI adoption accelerates. People engage constructively, provide feedback that improves systems, and extend the benefit of the doubt when problems occur. Trust is not just nice to have, it's competitively essential. Organizations that build trust in their AI practices gain advantages competitors without that trust cannot match. Trust comes from consistent demonstration of trustworthy behavior, not from assertions of trustworthiness. There should be transparency. Be open about how AI systems work, what data they use, and how decisions are made. You don't need to reveal proprietary details, and you should not. But you should explain enough that people understand and can evaluate whether the system treats them fairly. And there must be reliability. AI systems should perform consistently and accurately. Unreliable systems that make frequent errors or behave unpredictably erode trust quickly. Another key element is respect for privacy. Handle data responsibly, collect only what's necessary, protect it adequately, use it only for authorized purposes, and give people control over their data. Responsiveness is also key. When people raise concerns about AI systems, respond meaningfully. Even when you can't fully address concerns, acknowledging them and explaining your reasoning maintains trust. Trust is also built by admission of limitations. Be honest about what AI can and cannot do. Overselling capabilities or hiding limitations destroys trust when reality differs from promises. And there must be human oversight. Maintain meaningful human involvement in important decisions. Trust erodes when people feel they're being judged or controlled by inscrutable machines without human consideration. Now, different stakeholders evaluate trustworthiness differently. The customers trust AI that respects their privacy, explains decisions affecting them, provides value without manipulation, and makes human support easily accessible when needed. Employees trust AI that enhances rather than threatens their roles, is introduced with adequate training and support, and is deployed fairly without hidden surveillance or punitive applications. Partners trust AI-powered collaborations when data sharing is secure and appropriate, when benefits are fairly distributed, and when AI use aligns with shared values. And regulators trust organizations that proactively address ethical issues, cooperate with oversight, and implement AI responsibly even when not mandated by current regulation. Regulations are always subject to change. Trust does take time to build, but it can also be destroyed quickly. When trust is broken through AI failures, recovery requires immediate acknowledgement. Don't minimize or hide problems. Acknowledge them clearly and take responsibility. Transparent investigation. Explain what went wrong and how you discovered it and what your organization is learning. Meaningful correction. Fix the problem, not just for this instance, but systematically so it doesn't recur. Changed practices. Demonstrate you've learned by changing practices to prevent similar future issues. And finally, consistent follow-through. Rebuild trust through sustained period of trustworthy behaviors, not just short-term damage control. Fairness, accountability, and trust are not independent. They reinforce one another. Fair AI systems build trust with stakeholders. Accountability structures ensure fairness is maintained, and trust enables the transparency that makes accountability possible. Failures in one dimension undermine others. Unfair AI erodes trust. Lack of accountability means fairness issues go unaddressed. Trust that is eroded is not just in AI, it's in your organization. Broken trust makes stakeholders unwilling to engage honestly, preventing the feedback that accountability requires. These principles work as a system. You cannot cherry-pick which ones to prioritize. Sustainable AI practices require attention to all three. When making decisions about AI implementation, use the following principles as lenses. The fairness lens. Does this AI system treat all affected parties equitably? Could it perpetuate discrimination or bias? Have we tested for disparate impact? The accountability lens. Who is responsible for this system and its outcomes? How will we monitor performance? And what happens when problems arise? And the trust lens. Will this AI implementation build or erode stakeholder trust? Are we being appropriately transparent? Are we respecting privacy and dignity? These questions don't always have easy answers, but asking them systematically ensures you're considering ethical dimensions before they become problems. Implementing these principles faces predictable challenges. There is speed versus thoroughness. Ethical review takes time. There's pressure to move fast. The balance is starting with strong ethical foundations and maintaining them through rapid iteration, rather than skipping ethics for speed. Complexity versus transparency. Some AI systems are genuinely complex and difficult to explain. The challenge is explaining at appropriate levels, not full technical details, but enough that affected parties can understand and evaluate fairness. Optimization versus fairness. AI systems optimized for single metrics sometimes produce unfair outcomes. The challenge is balancing optimization with fairness considerations, even when that means accepting somewhat lower performance on narrow metrics. And innovation versus caution. Ethical caution can feel like it constrains innovation. The reality is sustainable innovation requires ethical foundations. Shortcuts create vulnerabilities that undermine long-term success. As a leader, your role is ensuring these principles actually guide AI implementation, not just appearing in policy documents. This means allocating resources to fairness testing, accountability structures, and trust-building practices. It means supporting decisions to delay launches for ethical concerns. It means modeling these principles in your own approach to AI. When principles conflict with short-term pressures, your choices demonstrate whether they are genuine commitments or aspirational rhetoric. Fairness, accountability, and trust are foundational principles for ethical AI, providing frameworks for making decisions that build sustainable value while respecting stakeholder interest. In the next lesson, we'll get more specific, examining how to recognize and address bias in AI systems. Bias is one of the most common fairness challenges, and understanding how to identify and mitigate it is essential for responsible AI leadership. You understand the principles, so now let's review practical capability for applying these principles to one of AI's most significant ethical challenges, bias.